The morning dawned like glass in that corner branch. White light hitting the marble, air too cold for a small-town autumn, and a persistent smell of freshly printed paper mixed with the expensive perfume of those who like to advertise that money is also worn around the neck. Nilo Andrade, a discreet employee in the clearing department, arrived as he always did, 15 minutes before work, and performed the same ritual that taught him to breathe from the inside. He ran his hand over the covers of the ledgers, checked the queue of checks scheduled for settlement, and placed a small plastic cup of water and a note on Leah Prado's desk, his colleague in customer service, which read, "Breathe, today will be easy." Nilo knew how to recognize the weight of the hours by sound. The metallic clatter of the safe, the click of the electronic turnstiles, the sharp laugh of Marzio Bellotti, the manager in a tight suit and a great hurry, and above all, the arrival of the man who transformed any corridor into a carpet, Dr. Alvaro Coutinho, the local banker, owner of a smile that could charm people. That day, however, there was more than just routine at play. A rumor was circulating that $1 million check, issued by a mysterious investor, would be presented there for in-person settlement. "Sign the check if it's really yours," joked Marcio, before opening the door for his boss, without imagining that the phrase would boomerang back. The digital clock flashed 10:12 when the revolving door swallowed a beige envelope and returned silence. No one knew yet, but the owner of the money didn't wear watches. He carried in his pocket an entire story written in pencil by someone who preferred never to sign with ink. Before we delve into this amazing story, tell me which city and state you're watching from. Leave a comment and I'll reply with gratitude. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. We want to share more stories like this. The movement gained momentum when Dr. Alvaro settled into the glass-walled room, as theatrical as ever. A fine wool blazer, a lapel adorned with a gold crown-shaped pin, and a smile that taught the world to applaud at the right time. Leah, trained in efficiency and respect, brought the tray with short coffee and still water, while Marcio stood beside her, collecting gestures of agreement for when the boss needed an audience. A gentleman in a felt hat waited at checkout counter 3. A young woman in a pharmacy uniform held a stack of receipts with both hands, and Nilo continued his painstaking work, checking endorsements, comparing signatures, identifying risks in the silence, like someone who puts their ear to the engine and hears noises that no one else notices. That's when a messenger on a motorcycle entered, sweaty, and asked for the compensation department. He handed Nilo an envelope with a notary stamp and a red seal. On the outside, only "Confidential, Andrade and Foundations" was written. Nilo's expression didn't change. His entire life he'd dedicated himself to avoiding scandalizing anyone, but his hands, discreetly, became firmer. He didn't open it, he put it away. And he headed for the glass room when Marzio called him with a snap of his fingers. "Nilo, bring us that large batch that's coming in today. The doctor wants to take a personal look." The banker sized him up with an amused wink, one of those glances that determines a person's stature. "What's your name again?" Nilo answered and received a witty reply. "Ah, yes, the guy with the checks that seem to walk by themselves. They tell me you can find errors even in the air." The room laughed. Nilo nodded politely and opened the folder. On top, like a carefully guarded blade, was the check whose gossip had permeated the morning. Amount enough to save 2 factories and build a hospital. Droy, an old fund. Guarantor, name covered by a black bar until the in-person verification. "Bring the messenger," ordered Alvaro, twirling the pen between his fingers theatrically. "I want to see who can sign this without trembling." The bearer didn't enter. Instead, Nilo presented the required protocol. Conference of ownership under a confidentiality clause. Opening of proceedings with an administrative witness. Leah, summoned as a witness, stood beside him, her hair tied up in a bun that had withstood difficult days. her gaze firm, that of someone tired of seeing well-perfumed arrogance. Marzio, it was clear, was eager for a spectacle. He approached, took the check from Nilo's hands, and read what could be read, exuding the superiority of someone who thinks he understands everything that can be touched. Whoever it is, they'll have to come here and sign in front of the doctor. A bank isn't a lottery ticket. Alvaro, smiling slightly at his subordinate's phrase, tapped his pen on the table as if marking time. That's it. Bring the owner. Nilo then opened the envelope from the notary's office. Not the one from the delivery boy, but a smaller one, stapled to the inside, and displayed the instruction. The guarantor's signature would be replaced by a notarized statement already registered with prior biometric recognition. Alvaro, impatient, leaned in as if sniffing, and it was in this lean that the mask opened for the first time. My dear fellow, sign the check if it's really yours. Otherwise, don't waste my time. Laughter swept through the agency like wind beating a pennant. Noise without content, but unsettling nonetheless. Nilo didn't accept the provocation. He adjusted his badge in his shirt pocket, excused himself in a clear voice, and announced, "Then let's comply with the law and end the doubt." He removed the larger sealed document from the messenger's envelope and placed it before everyone. Record of the transfer of shares of the Solidarity Hope Fund, inherited from Benedito Andrade to Nilo Andrade, with powers of guarantee and extraordinary movement, registered at the notary's office at 9:56 this morning. The word Andrade hit the glass and echoed back. Leah looked at Nilo as if discovering an entire surname that had always fit in a small pocket. Marzio mumbled explanations that no one asked for, and Alvaro, for the first time, couldn't find enough space within himself to continue the scene. The name Benedito Andrade had a history in the city, but no photographs. A man of few public appearances, apart from the mechanic and merchant who, decades ago, had helped companies with verbal loans, saving people the bank didn't want to touch. He died without a bust, without a plaque, without the self-help of merit. However, he left a foundation that slept as if keeping vigil, the Solidarity Hope Fund, which discreetly invested in the bank's own securities whenever the local economy faltered. Alvaro, intimately familiar with the workings of the city, knew of the fund's existence, but never knew of the heir, and this ignorance was the true reflection of the morning. This is irregular, he tried, clinging to old ropes. Nilo pointed to the stamps as if showing screws in the right place. Notary's signature, seal of the inspectorate, timestamp with geolocation. You signed agreements with this foundation on 3 occasions, Dr. Alvaro. Here, here, and here. The banker leafed through the documents, his hands no longer performing their rehearsed dance, and swallowed hard. I want to speak to the legal department. Marzio rushed to the phone like a firefighter who only trains on a sunny day. Leah kept her eyes on Nilo and the group of clients, the man in the hat, the girl with the bills, the teacher who arrived to collect her school grant, formed a spontaneous semicircle, the kind of geography that arises when justice decides to appear without a microphone. Nilo didn't raise his voice. He increased the tempo. This check is to reopen the sawmill in the Rio Seco neighborhood, to support 300 families, to rehire people who lost their dignity in the last closure. The fund I inherited exists for this, and the bank that receives it exists to serve this purpose, not the other way around. Alvaro took a while to find where to put his hands. When he spoke, there was no longer any applause inside him. If that's the case, let's proceed. But as a matter of protocol, I need the guarantor's final confirmation. Nilo nodded. Then write it down, because I'm the one who confirms. And he picked up the pen. Chat, GPT screenwriter. The pen traced the paper with the firmness of someone learning calligraphy in a used notebook. Leah, a witness, signed beside it. Marcio, breathless, returned from the legal department with news that saved no one. "Doctor, everything is in order. There's nothing to contest." It was the agency, which had so often been the scene of polite humiliations, experienced a silence that taught. Alvaro leaned back, and it was then that Nilo, with the serenity possessed only by those trained by necessity, asked to speak for more than just a check, for an adjustment in their way of life. "I will keep all my commitments to the bank, doctor. But I want to propose a policy that my grandfather designed and that has been forgotten. Decent service before any credit analysis, a free financial guidance room on Wednesdays, and priority for micro-entrepreneurs who present a business plan, not a well-tailored suit." The man in the hat looked up. The girl at the pharmacy clutched the bills to her chest like someone holding a baby. Leah bit her lip to keep from crying. Alvaro tried to sidestep the marketing issue. Of course, the bank's image. Nilo cut him off with firm sweetness. "It's not about image, it's about purpose. And purpose isn't printed on a banner, it's fulfilled at the teller window." Marcio, with a misguided laugh, risked a nervous joke. "So now you are the owner of the money?" Nilo replied with the only truth that fit there. "I'm just the guardian. In this city, the owner is the one who needs it to work with dignity." The phrase took root. Within minutes, Leah had already improvised a list of people interested in the so-called Guidance Wednesday. The man with the hat said he would return with a milk cooperative project. The girl from the pharmacy asked if she could renegotiate without being treated like a debt with legs. Nilo, while organizing the papers with a calmness that cleared the air, asked Marcio for a simple and revolutionary gesture. Sanitize the glass meeting room and open the door. "From today on, this aquarium is for talking to those who are afraid of numbers." Alvaro nodded, without his usual choreography, and let the place slowly hide the shine where before there had only been reflection. Outside, the light changed tone. The sun grazed the wires, lunchtime streaked across the asphalt, and Nilo went out to breathe. In his pocket, the pen that had signed the transfer seemed lighter than it would appear in the newspapers. In his hands remained the notary's envelope with the smell of warm paper. Leah caught up with him on the sidewalk and said what needed to be said without embellishment. "Thank you for reminding us that banks are people." Nilo smiled slightly, like someone receiving a payment that doesn't fit on a spreadsheet, and replied, "My grandfather always said that a good check is one that buys time for those who work. The rest is noise." At the top of the building, the bank's sign looked the same, but the city no longer saw it the same way. There was a new owner of money, the kind of owner who doesn't pose, doesn't promise, doesn't stand on tiptoe. The kind who understands that power, when it doesn't translate into service, rots. And at the end of that morning, when someone in the back still tried to resurrect the old provocation, "Sign the check if it's really yours," the laughter died in seconds. Because finally they learned the name on the paper matters, the name in the purpose is what sustains.